I'm remembering the time.
If you tell the story, I'll tell the free-handle the story.
Oh,
All right, go.
Okay. Well, I mean, and you might be able to help with this because it is a bit of a twofer. But so I remember. By the way, again, we're young. But
So young.
Everybody used to talk about going out to Skyline Drive.
Oh.
Which is that big area right there by the City Dike, and people used to just turn on, tune in, and drop out.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. I never indulged in that stuff because I just didn't, And plus, I'd heard the stories about, say, for instance, something like lysergic, acid, where it's like, oh man, 12, 14, 17, 25 hours of, and I'm like, I don't want to do anything that feels good for 25 hours.
Well, just weird.
So no, but I'll go hang out with my buds and stuff. So and I remember, I don't remember what had happened earlier, but I remember you and I were the only ones not indulging or partaking in anything.
Yeah.
And so we go out there and
couldn't afford it.
We go out there and a group of us go out there like that, and it was a great night, quiet, still night, having fun, partying, joking, talking like that. You had donned a poncho.
I was wearing it back then. It was my poncho phase.
It was your poncho phase. That's true.
You went through a brief but entertaining poncho phase.
I do recall while we're out there, and this is early on, but we're out there, and early on, I remember there's some, I guess, the blue hole or whatever, I don't know, but I had to take a piss. So I go down to relieve myself, and I think at that point you were like, that's not a bad idea. I didn't know that you thought that, though. So I'm out there taking care of business every day, and here comes in my periph this guy. I see poncho whiffed over, work boots, and I'm like, what? Hey, how's it going? Huh? So everybody's kind of, doing what they're doing like that, and a couple of people, I believe...
It's
RB.
RB Clunch.
Definitely RB. And
I don't remember who else was in the car.
I remember David Doak stayed with you guys.
Yeah, he was next to me, and that's the other part of the story.
RB and some other person and me, everybody wanted kind of like sodas or water or whatever. And so I said, well, no one here is able to drive except me. And you were able to, but you were like, I think I'm going to hang back here. I was like, all right. So nothing for us to hop in the car, head down the street a little ways, hit up a Kroger grocery store thing, open that late or whatever, got some sodas and stuff like that, and headed back. While we're in the store, RB was gone. He was gone. Like, gone. I was surprised he was walking. But he was just, like, So I've been messing with him pretty much the whole time. Just hey, man. What's that? And he's like, huh? I go, that's nothing, It was nothing, but I just wanted to make him freak out. So we get in the car, and so you or me, and you're driving, and he's in the car, seatbelted and everything, and we're heading back, and all of a sudden there's this. And I'm kind of like, hey man, how's it going? And he responds with this. Yeah. All right.
Which, if you know RB, that's something he would say.
So we're getting closer. We're getting closer like that. And I go, because there's a dimmer switch that he can't see on this side of the car. I'm driving. There's a dimmer switch for my dashboard. And I go, hey, man, you want to see something? And he goes, and I go, ooh. And I dimmed. And he went, yeah. And I went, no, calm down. I can bring it back. Watch. Ooh. And it went back, and he went.
You doing that?
and we had just gotten almost to where everybody was, but I was still coasting. I was about to slow down. We were coasting at a good 5 miles an hour, and I saw that look on his face, and I went, "Hey, it's okay, buddy," and he bolted out of the car. He had all the Cokes and stuff on his lap, by the way, so they went flying.
I didn't know that.
And he bolted out of the car. I was like, "Holy shit!" So I stopped, and then we gathered them all up and come back down. You crying, laughing as I head back down, but you were like freaked out. You're just like,
I was laughing at RB
right.
because he's not kidding. He opened the door and just spilled out. He did not make it onto his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it was the Cokes, but yeah, there was this clatter of things on the floor, and he crawled away from there as if there were like spiders. He was terrified, and that was very funny, which broke the tension of what had happened to me.
I don't know any of this part till he tells me about it.
Yeah, like I'm saying, I'm hanging out with David Doak, who is just as gone. But David does a weird thing. He either falls into like this weird philosophical thing, or he gets what I call his murder stare. And he was well into murder stare territory. He was just sitting there, eyes wide, pupils like saucers, like he's expecting any minute to be attacked, and gleeful of the idea that he has something to fight.
He had that at that time, yeah, he was really...
And all of a sudden, while he's in the middle of murder stare, glancing around like that, he stops. And he's just staring forward. He's not even looking, he's looking at the road, but not down the road that way, where all the traffic would come from. And he says, and they're in there. And something along that lines of like being inside the car or something. What are you talking about? It's like, down the road, he's afraid of something. They're freaking out, and there's a set of headlights. He's not looking at the headlights.
That's pre-headlights, and then the headlights.
The headlights come in, and he says, "No, not that one." And he says, "The next one." Mm-hmm. Those headlights pass us, and the next car is Rodney's. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it opens up, and he spills out, and it looks really funny. And it takes me a minute to assimilate after he got out of there like was afraid of something. So I actually asked Rodney, who gleefully tells me the story, and I'm trying just to smile and laugh and looking over at Murder Eyes. I'd had a number of weird minor encounters of bilocation and time travel while on psychedelic drugs. Not to mention a couple of instances of weird psychic stuff. And a lot of it could kind of be explained. Like I said, a lot of weird hallucinations. I want to actually tell the hamburger story, but I want to... Instead, you think I should tell the time travel one?
Yeah, whichever one you want.
It goes better with this one. I did a lot of weird things on drugs.
Yes.
Anyway, we went and... me and our friend Sonia went up from Texas City to go party in Austin because all of our friends were there. And we went there, and there was a party, and it was the one that got broke up, wasn't it? So there was some psychedelic drugs that got passed around, and I was enjoying them at the party. When all of a sudden, somebody comes along and says, okay, someone's called the cops, and they're coming here. So those of you that can, stick around. Those of you that can't stay for the cops, you got to go now. And I was definitely in the category of can't stay for the cops. And so I got out, and you were going to get... I didn't know Austin. So Troy was going to drive, and I was going to follow him in my car, even though it had hardcore just kicked in. And he drove off, and I just fiddled with the keys for a second and looked up, and he was gone.
As is he's wants to do.
Well,
I'm just putting that out
fast, but dude, honestly, in my state, there's no telling how long I fiddled with the keys.
True. That's true. I'm peeking.
So yeah, with a head full of drugs and my heart pounding because now I'm afraid and I need to leave where I am. Mm-hmm. Start up the car and just as tight on the steering wheel as I can, eased out into the road. And I was burning up hot, so I rolled down the window. And I swear to God, I caught a smell coming in through there. And my brain convinced itself that it was Troy's aftershave. I stuck my head out the window. And in this fashion, I tracked him back to his apartment. Now, I'm certain at some level it was that I do subconsciously remember the way back because I've been there a couple of times. but it really didn't seem that way at the time.
In that state.
Okay. After that, the next day, me and Sonia hook back up, and we're going to go back down to Texas City. And she has the bright idea. It's like, hey, you know what? Instead of going home, we got nothing to do tomorrow, right? Do today, right? Let's take the rest of the drugs and go back to my apartment and watch, like, old British science fiction. She had a number of episodes of Blake 7. I was a big fan.
Red Dwarf.
A couple of Doctor Who episodes. Sure. I'm a little tired right now. I need to pick me up. So let's drop a couple on the way. Yeah. This was our plan.
Was it a good plan?
Was it?
It wasn't a good plan.
I do it in like 10 minutes in the drive, and the whole thing from Fear and Loathing. Oh, lightheaded. Maybe you should drive for a bit. I said, oh yeah, I feel fine. So we switch places, and she's driving my car. From Austin to Houston, and we're going from Houston to Galveston, which is where she lived. And I swear to God, as a side note, the whole from Austin to Houston is 200 miles, and then from Houston to Galveston, what would you say, like
50?
50 or 60?
Yeah.
It seems like Austin to Houston takes us like 20 minutes, and then Houston to Galveston felt like it took 3 hours. No idea why. Just that distortion of time is something I feel. But on the way from Austin to Houston, something happens. I'm sitting there and I'm looking out the window, only the way you can on psychedelic drugs. And I'm watching these road signs come by. And at one time, there's this perfect angle where a road sign comes up and there's a street light there. It's late at night. And it sheens over the sign. And there's a bright glare. And for a second, rather than just pass, the glare overtakes me. And all of a sudden, I'm looking not at that sign anymore. I'm looking at the last one. And then a minute or so later, we passed the one that caused the glare. It did it again. The glare, but not overtaking me. We backed up about 20 seconds. And then I saw everything play out again. And I'm on drugs. I thought, that is the neatest time dilation I've ever experienced on drugs. So I turned to say that to Sonia, who was wide-eyed and gripping the steering wheel. And what just happened? We backed up 10 or 15 seconds. Okay. So I get little things like that. It's the ones that I can verify other people saw too.
Right.
That really freak me out.
I mean,